So there's been a lot of fire in the news since Donald Trump said that something happened last night in Sweden. He wasn't specific about what it was, and it was instantly taken as a laugh. I'm seeing all sorts of memes out there that say that, you know, just don't take it seriously at all. And honestly, I don't know whether it should be. I don't know what kind of intel the president's got, or if he has any intel at all. I don't know when he's telling the truth or when he's not. What I do know is that some people online are looking at this seriously, and you know, I would rather have people look at it and report back what they learn than, you know, just presume that simply because it's from Trump that he's incorrect. He didn't say there was a terrorist attack. He said he just said that last night in Sweden, oh boy, or something like to that effect. It wasn't specific. It was very opaque. So Tim Pool, one of my favorite personalities on the internet, is going into this. He's an independent journalist, and he is headed to Sweden to check out what happened. And here's a bit more on what he is doing.
Hey everybody, Tim Cast here. Recently at a rally, Donald Trump made a reference to something happening last night in Sweden, and it spawned this hashtag, last night in Sweden. People started making jokes about silly little events. Someone posted a picture of like a garbage can being knocked over, because apparently nothing had happened Friday night in Sweden. But there's a few issues that I want to touch on that I think are important. The first thing, and I'll just touch on this lightly, is that Trump supporters tend to give Donald Trump a bit more leeway in the things he says. They don't take him to be 100% factual. They trust him and they get the idea of what he's trying to say. They're not as critical. But the media and many in academia expect Trump to be 100% factual in his statements. What ends up happening is when Trump makes a reference to last night in Sweden, one political faction takes it verbatim to be, you know, what does this mean? And the Trump supporters are like, I get what he's saying.
And I think he just nailed it right there. I think that the mainstream press and the left side of the equation expect the president, or a president who is a politician. Politicians lie all the time. Some are better at it than others. He's a bad liar. They expect him to be telling the truth all the time. The 100% truth, and to be not be opaque or just sort of weird, or as he's known to do. And his followers, on the other hand, are just totally buying everything he's saying, which is also fucked up. So, but what you have is these two competing notions, not talking to each other or not putting critical thought, either not putting critical thought in at all, or putting way too much critical thought in. Not that the president should not be thought about seriously, and he should be taken seriously. He's the fucking president. But what I would say is that if Obama said the same thing, I don't think there would have been a peep in the mainstream media. It would have just been accepted at face value. If W said the same thing would have happened. But there is such a hate for Donald Trump that we can't even believe that it's possible that something could have happened in Sweden and we wouldn't know about in the mainstream. Typically, if we don't know about it in the mainstream, the president doesn't say it, and that's understandable to just have that assumption, because that's typical operating procedure. But that's just not the way that Trump world works. Trump world is from another planet, so we should expect to not understand what the hell is going on when the man is speaking. More from Tim Pool.
And now I'll explain what this video is really about. Trump is making a reference to reported crime, right? There's this perceived rape and sexual assault epidemic hitting many other countries in Europe, and a lot of Trump supporters take these stories to, be evidence of a problem with refugees and migrants.
Okay, here's a weird thing with all the reporting I saw on this statement and all the social media banter. Nobody talked about that, and it makes me think about my sphere and the people that I listen to. Maybe I need to do some house cleaning. Maybe I need to go further outside my comfort zone, because that's one of the first places from Tim Pool himself where I heard that kind of thing. It's bizarre to me that this isn't that's not even discussed. If it's, I don't know whether it's true. I'd rather just have the discussion. At least I would have a better idea of what the hell is going on. More from Timcast.
Here's where it gets really complicated. There are many left-leaning sites that are saying this is debunked, that the reason for these reported crimes or the high rate of sexual violence is simply that Sweden has a very wide-ranging sexual crimes law, and that the police are better equipped to deal with it. So essentially, there's no more rape there than anyone else. It's just that they have a different definition of the word, and the police are able to make these arrests. However, people on the right, many people who support Trump, say that isn't the case, and that you're seeing story after story about migrants murdering people, committing crimes, and committing rapes. In fact, the New York Times, which was critical of Donald Trump's statement last night in Sweden, talking about how Sweden was calling him out for it, does have a story referencing over 40 instances of sexual assault at a music festival, in which they actually say that of 7 suspects being questioned by the police, 6 of them were foreign. This is a highly politicized phenomenon, with one faction saying it's true and you're denying it for political reasons, and the other side saying it's false and you're just pushing the story for political reasons.
Okay, so on that time story, if you look at the video version of this, and I encourage you to do it, it's called Last Night in Sweden, on Tim Pool's channel. He puts the New York Times article on the screen, and the article is from a music festival back in July. So there is no direct connection. It could be, like a, logical fallacy country where you could have, just because A happened and Trump said that stuff's happening in Sweden doesn't mean that something's actually that one caused the other or one is connected to the other. So that reasoning is a little off, but for my taste. But that's his point.
What's really happening here? Well, this is where I make the announcement that I am going to be traveling to Sweden and France and some other countries in Europe to actually figure out what the hell's really going on. I'll say this, I don't side with anybody. I'm a skeptic, I guess. So when I hear these stories, I say, okay, well, let's look into this and figure out if it's true or not. When someone tells me that it's fake, I say, yeah, okay, but I've got people on the other side saying it's real, and I've got, alleged witness testimony. The issue then becomes, who do you trust? The biggest challenge for me, I'm not sure I trust anyone. So I am going to go and produce a series of videos, and we're gonna, get into the fray and just figure out what's really going on. I will say this. I've already been warned by some journalists that this is a serious issue and that these no-go zones should be avoided at all costs.
No-go zone. Seriously,
I've had people message me saying, it's not a joke, don't go to the no-go zones. We might have our equipment destroyed, we might be attacked. But what can I do? I'm not going to take their word 100%. I will heed their warnings, but it's time for us to go investigate. I cannot do this without your support, so I will be setting up a GoFundMe so that we can raise money to produce a series of videos on the ground across Europe, interviewing real people on all sides of the political spectrum to figure out if anything is happening, what is it? If you want to support and help out my coverage, we'll be producing live streams, Twitter videos and tweets. I will be producing a series of YouTube videos. The goal is to produce something every single day so you can see exactly what we're doing, how we're doing it, where we're going.
And I, for one, am contributing. Anyone who's interested in this should contribute. Also, his GoFundMe page is GoFundMe/Last Night in Sweden. Smart to grab that one up while it's hot. And I think I truly support that. I'm at least going to give $5-10, help the guy out in his quest and support himself while he does something adventurous and interesting like this. To see more from Tim Pool, I'll have a link down in the description. And if you have something to say, let me know. Click like or share. Thank you.